Good evening. Hello, everyone. I am Muhammad Achour, from Dublin, Ireland, Director of Places of ARcture. Welcome to all viewers from London Festival of Architecture. And we're glad to be here for the second event, online event in Places of ARcture. I would like to say Masa al-Khair, Salam for all our viewers from Syria. We have here today in the event of the community engagement power in our neighborhoods, Syria and Ireland community initiatives. So let me introduce you to my guest and my presenter for today. So
we cannot hear you.
Sorry. Thank you very much. Okay. So Yaman Zain Abidin, a 24 years old Syrian architect, interested in public space and interior and exterior design. Hi, Yaman, and thank you for joining us.
Hi. Hello.
So also we have a special guest from joining us from Oman, Muscat. He's originally from Syria, Aleppo. Hussam Achour, chief engineer in Oman Arab Engineering. Master degree from Aleppo University School of Architecture, PhD researcher currently in tourism planning in University Science Malaysia, former teacher assistant in Aleppo University and Ittihad University. Hi, Hussam, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Muhammad.
Also, we have a special guest from Dublin, Ireland, our friend Paddy Woodworth, author, journalist, and tour guide. Books include The Past Country, Oxford 2008, and Our Once and Future Planet, University of Chicago, and co-organizer or co-founder for community engagement initiatives, Sanctuary Nature and Heritage, which we'll be talking about it today. Hi, Paddy. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Mohammed. It's a pleasure.
Okay, thank you very much for all. And now we'll start to talk about our journey in this event. So I will ask you to stay with us and enjoy us this event. And yeah, so we share my screen now. And we'll talk more about the journey of our event. So today we'll be talking first introduction about sustainable cities and communities. I will present small thoughts from my research. Then Yaman from Aleppo will present about community engagement in Aleppo, Syria. It's called Color Garden. Then we'll move, me and Yaman will be talking to you about our collaboration with friends in Initiatives 2014, it's called Trees for Future Architects. Then we'll jump to Ireland and talk about community park initiatives and nature and heritage initiatives, and we'll join Paddy with us also to talk about it. Then at the end, we will have a panel discussion and we'll answering your question. So feel free, send us your question and comments on YouTube link. And so let's start with first presentation for today. So the first introduction about sustainable cities and communities aiming for livable neighborhoods. So I will do introduction to the importance of community engagement, why community engagement is important. So why is community engagement is important in our cities? Let's start with this circle. I hope most of you know about this circle. These circles, I hope, will be familiar with this circle for the next 10 years, because hopefully in 2030 we'll have a sustainable development goals achieved with hands of all around the world to be doing to this. So this is sustainable development goals. The United Nations put these goals to be achieved in our cities, neighborhoods, and towns together. So what is related to our discussion today is goal number 11, sustainable cities and communities, which is make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. So to have sustainable city and communities, I will talk to you a little about my research in UCD. It was about the neighborhoods and the livability. So just we jump to the livability. It's a new term of people work in mobility in our cities, better feature green space and squares. So we'll talk about green space today and squares. So as you mentioned before, that I did this research. It's a livable neighborhood in Celebridge in countryside of suburb of Dublin. So I got I fell in love with livability term, and I'm working on this. So the first research for me, what I'm quoting to you now, it's Pascal Perez, a senior professor, in his very nice YouTube TED talk, said the livability, you can make it simple, not simple enough, but for planner at least, livability is live in a place I like, an ability to perform my task. So the place should be good enough, have quality of life, but also help me to perform my task, to do my work, to interact with my neighbors, or to go for entertainment. So this is livability. What makes a city now livable? There's 6 factors for livability. So to have a livable city, you have good job opportunities, good housing strategy, neighborhoods, transport, also very important, entertainment, and services. So today we'll talk about services, because services mean squares, streets, garden, and community. So reviewing urban design writers about the city, you can find, I found that, or also Pascal Perez, which I thought quoting from him, that the social life in each community is the most important rules to make the feature of the city. People voice is everything in making a city. The factors that add up to a community quality of life, including the built and the natural environment, economy also, property, social stability, and equity. So we have in livability 3 E's, it's equity, and environment, and economy. These 3 E's should work together to have sustainable city and livable city. Also to have educational opportunity and cultural and entertainment and recreation possibility. Living in better and safe neighborhood with better range of social interaction in the community, it's very important for our city to be as a livable city. So also better transport, functional, but also safe for our children to play and enjoy their environments. In the other hand, public spaces is very also key role also for livable city. So public space, because public spaces cover 33% or 1/3 of the city services, include streets, squares, parks, and public facilities. They are one of the main urban components. They affect in the quality of life in the city and special framework for social communities opportunities. So I will review now ideas or examples for what mean public space, what's the feature of our public space. These photos, I reviewed some photos of, we have here in Dublin. Some of you maybe know about the Dubliner maybe, or let's tell you about this idea. We have College Green, a plaza, in the city center. So I hope, like many people, some other people argue, but I hope that Ireland have soon a plaza in the city center. Plaza, this plaza means that converting the bus or the car, the streets, outside this space to have a plaza in front of the Trinity College entrance and the College Green space. So we did a trial, county council, did a trial to make this as just plaza, no traffic ever. And it went very well. I've been there for the three trials, and I took this lovely photo. I enjoyed very entertaining places. So this is the people voice. This is when people voice say that we need this plaza. And so city council, city architects should all the time work with the people. So here's the services. What makes livable city is take care about our public spaces, streets, which in some references they said this is the living room. This spaces services. It is the living room for our neighborhoods to enjoy with each other. So I'm just showing this photo from Kilkenny in Dublin, in Ireland. Using the street, using the public space for entertainment, for marathon. And this is my friend Ahmed, how he watching us to the right. So now, to take care and develop our public space, parks, and gardens, we need, today, we are not talking a lot about academia, about researchers. Let's jump to the action. Let's jump with community engagement. Could this community engagement work toward this to sustainable city and to have livable cities? So yes, community engagement today talk. I won't talk more about livability. Today we'll talk now about the community engagement, community initiatives. And before we get to the busy, I just would like to thank the Syrian artist, Noura Hanifa, who did this sketch, which is now, I think, kind idea to how to engage artists with the community aim to have to present our ideas with artist way. Later, you can check the references for my talks. I hope you enjoy my talk. So now let's move to the talk sharing. Yes, unmute. Let's have a small panel discussion. And if any of you would like, maybe Hussam.
Thank you, Muhammad, for your presentation.
Thank you.
It's clear and it's beautiful to show how the relationship between the people and the public spaces, especially in photos.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you very much. Yes, Paddy, do you have anything to say about Plaza?
Well, I'd be curious. I mean, you come from, if I may put it this way, a Mediterranean culture.
Yes.
I don't know Syria, unfortunately. I hope to someday. But I know Morocco, for example, quite well. I also know Spain very well and Italy. And Ireland is a very funny place because we're neither in the north, or some people say we're Southern Europeans who are kind of exiled towards the north, because people say we have a kind of Mediterranean mentality. And what I mean here is that what always strikes me about the Mediterranean is the sense of public space, the sense of people living their private lives almost in the public space. Now, obviously, because of our climate, that's not easy for us to do. So I just wonder, you know, what differences when you research in Ireland do you see in terms of our use of public space and how public space would be used by ordinary citizens in Aleppo?
Yes. Do you mean about the weather?
Well, we think it's due to the weather, but perhaps it's due to other factors also. But I'm just interested to whether, you know, you feel that perhaps we're beginning to learn, as you say, we're finally creating a plaza in the city center. How strange that we didn't have one, you know?
Yes. So maybe I can start with the old city. We have very interesting public spaces in the old city. We have a small plaza. It's called Al-Hatab Plaza, an amazing plaza. Using these spaces in the old days, it was sustainable, sustained to use this space to interaction. Maybe within these days, if we reflect this idea of develop the park or the public space in our neighborhoods, let's start with our neighborhoods. Being in Aleppo, if you offer them this idea or present to them this idea, which we now, maybe Yaman will tell us from his presentation, that they have this idea of, yes, let's do it, but we need to explain to them or to have this connection with them and to bring them to use public space. And yeah, I think in Aleppo, the same in Ireland. So the people, as we know that also people in Ireland, so the people is happy to do this, to use this public space, but we need to activate these spaces.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Reddy.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now we'll move to straight away to our star today, Yaman, who will present from Aleppo his talk. So spotlight for Yaman, not gallery view, speaker view. Yes, speaker view, now unmute. And I'll make Yaman now host, so you can share your presentation.
Thanks, Muhammad.
Yes, so go ahead now. The light up for you.
So, as Muhammad mentioned about the importance of gardens or public squares, the neighborhoods, I will be talk about how these gardens can provide a good built environment for living, working, playing, and place for interaction, discussion, meetings, and forming links where people exchange story about their lives and experiences, details about the family, work, health status, plans, behavior, attitudes, and skills. And the square encourages people to follow a healthy lifestyle and undertake a set of activity leisure time, such as sport, such as playing, sitting, etc. Okay, we're here to talk about initiative. I had do it in past, so let's start without any further ado. It's okay. Colors Garden, World Volunteers Day events, community initiated review, timing of initiative, starting day to 22nd of November 2017, ending date 13th of November 2017. Okay, it was some initiative of Volunteers Day, International Volunteers Day. Okay, the location was Syria, Aleppo, Al-Hamdaniya neighborhood, number 3, southwest of Aleppo, in one of the largest neighborhoods. Okay, we have shoot and analysis to see the garden more. Here we see the streets and the entrances and the beach. Okay. Action plan was before the initiative is one of the activities of International Volunteers Day. The initiative launched based the need of the community. Many meetings have been done in order to determine the kind of the interventions and where they should be implemented and distribute the tasks. The initiative start on 22nd November and listed 9 days, which has taken place in southwest of Aleppo in one of the largest neighborhoods. Okay, the first day, morning gathering in the volunteers club in the Intaj market. Supplying of equipment going towards Al-Hamdaniya Center and others volunteers join us. A meeting is done to explain the action plan and the tasks the volunteers split to many teams. This day was dedicated to clean the garden. The necessary tools were given to the volunteers to perform the mission to the fullest pros and pros. Okay, the garden was cleaned as follows: collect the dirt and stones and sorted them into types. Big and small stones, plastic, papers, nylon, other dirt, into bags. It was pointed out that the stones should be preserved and used in defining beach later. And lining some paths with the park. 1/3 of the mission has been completed, preparing several passages that were hidden by dirt and cleaning the passages. A group meeting. After that, a group meeting to assess the work done. Day 2, gathering and going to the location. A meeting is done to explain the action plan and the tasks specifically for the newly joined volunteers. We have always new volunteers. This day was also detected to clean the garden. The garden was cleaned on the same previous way. Another one of the specified action plan for the garden has been completed. Beginning of the preparation of the pitch, where the stones was were sorted again, and the appropriate selection of them to determine the pitch. Several passages appeared that were hidden and being prepared and cleaned, and after that, meeting to assess the work done. Day number 3. This day was intended to work with the municipality staff toward the garden. The passage walls were washed inside and out. This day was a break for volunteers, and the work rule was only for leaders. I was one of them. Day number 4, same way. Today this day was detected to clean the garden. The pitch was prepared and the appropriate place was determined. A place outside the street was chosen for the pitch. The playing field has been rolled out to be suitable for playing in cooperation with the Military Housing Foundation. After that, a meeting to assess the work done. Okay, so day 5, day off for the team. A meeting of leaders was done to define next steps and coordinate with volunteers to distribute and explain the tasks. So day number 6, this day was dedicated to painting and the equipment needed to accomplish this mission arrived. So the paint has been sorted, distributing the necessary tools to the volunteers, bows, aprons, brushes, and pointing tricks. 2/3 of the outer walls have been painted in this day. 2/3 of the internal lines specified for the places of the dust have been painted, smoothing the pitch boundaries. Preparing several damaged tires, reuse and decorated them and place them as chairs and pitch panes. After that, team meeting to assess the work done. Okay, day number 7, day off for the team. A meeting of leaders was done to define next steps and coordinate with volunteers to distribute and explain the tasks. Okay, day number 8. This day was dedicated to painting also, distributing the necessary tools to the volunteers, bows, aprons, brushes, and biotics. The last third of the outer wall was painted. The last third of the internal lines specified for the places of dust have been painted. Preparing several damaged tires to use and decorated them, and also the same way in the last day. A meeting of the team to evaluate the work accomplished and discuss the equipment and ideas for preparing for the open day. The open day was the last day. Day number 9, it was the open day, a meeting for all volunteers and distributing the tasks and the tasks within 3 basic roles: team leader, supporter, and games facilitators. Going to the garden and start preparing games, beginning decorating the garden with balloons and locating the station. Same meetings to discuss the problem facing volunteers before starting activities and starting receiving benefits. Support team and its role was distribute the benefits raises to the team leaders and to control the moving mechanism between the stations. Distributing facilitators for each game. The importance of preserving the garden was noted through through some of the games and the plays that were presented. A final meeting in which the open day and initiated actions as a whole were discussed and negative points were taken to work in the future initiative. The work is done, and here we have steps for stability of the initiative, spreading the idea of awareness and volunteering among children through some activities. Involve the activity them more within the system of mediating public utilities, put up signs about hygiene, fix garden lightings to be probably available in the evening. Okay. Here we have some photos to the garden. We see photos before the starting. Let's see the picture that illustrates some of the stage the garden has gone through. First, its current state where it was like this. Here we have photos for garden washing day. In this photo, we see the municipality cooperation and sharing with us the initiative through her participations in the garden washing. And this stage was to prepare the garden for painting and drawing work. Here after the washing and the sun, make his work. Okay. And this photo for page preparing the equip the page. It was the most enjoyable stage, and it would make a big difference and a beautiful addition to the garden, where children rush quickly to enjoy this new baby. And we see in pictures the great cooperation of the municipality by preparing the beach and making it a flat surface ready for use. And the volunteers team had a great role in preparing this place by separating dirt and stones and then determine the area of the beach. After the initiative and other volunteers come and perform a concert for the people of the neighborhoods. It has become available vein for such activities. Here we say this photo. Painting day. Here we have some photos for painting day. Another fun part and a lot of accomplishment has been done. It was clearly defined and the simplest tools. We painted the outer fence and drawing games on tiles and sharing the stairs and the made brush baskets and chair for them to sit. Everyone felt accomplished after hard days of cleaning up and the great teamwork, and with the participation of the local community from which he gained in freedom to participate with us in the various stages of work. These games on the floor and hands of small volunteers, little volunteers. These pictures are from the painting day. Open day. We have photos. These pictures are from the last day of the open day, and the great joy of for the people of the this neighborhood. Here we see the team that has always worked and made activity contributions to make this place better, where all volunteers are university students from various colleges and majors. We will say the kids are joining us to make some activities and work and help us. Okay, here we see action plan analysis. We see cleaning is 40% and painting 40%. Also, preparation of page 10%. And open day 10%, and planning whole the time we had planning for this initiative. Challenges was rains, delayed in delivering the supplies, lack of supplies, transportation, undergrad studies commitments to volunteers, and budget. Results, the garden became qualified to be a suitable place for children and people of the neighborhood, qualifying a place to be a football pitch for children, adding bright color to the garden. And thanks for watching.
Thank you, Yaman, for this great presentation. You did very great work, not just the initiatives and about the doing presented in a good way. And so just stop your sharing.
Okay.
Yes, please. Can be done from here. So let's ask
Okay,
all to join us this discussion. Please unmute yourself. I can unmute. You have to agree. Yes, Hossam. Unmute yourself, Hossam. Okay, thank you, Yaman. It's
Thanks.
very great.
Pleasure to me.
Great job. You seem. I'm sure you enjoyed this 10 days.
Yes.
It's 10 days in a row, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So you mentioned that's very inspired ideas, and the photo for taking for the painting ground. It's amazing. So that leads me to question. You said that the volunteers from many majors and
Yes.
from not one place. But I have a question being as an architect for you. So as a leader, and a volunteer, to be an architect or artist, as a leader or as an artist, within this community engagement, what this fact add to the initiatives?
Oh, well, look, Muhammad, everyone who loved the collective work because of the high productivity and given experience, but to have artists and architects where we can work to add beautiful touch of art.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, perfect answer. So you feel that artists and architects have
we have a lot.
We have a main role to to work on.
Artists have big job.
Perfect. that's hopefully to see all of them work with the community. So
Yes.
what do you think, Hussam? Could I mention for people that this is in Hamdaniya, so where you used to live? Hussam, can you hear us? There is some connection errors, Hussam, maybe. Yeah, let's move to Paddy. Just want to make sure.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Now, so I can see just Yaman now. So if we take this,
I see Muhammad and Bad. Cannot
yes,
see
but
Hussam.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, he
Problem
seems to have disappeared.
yes, Hussam maybe had some issue. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think now everything's fine now. No, it's fine. So the issue now with Zoom, so we can just see Yaman, do something for you. Just if you click on the right corner, so unspot yourself, maybe. Okay, that's cool.
Now we're back.
Yes, Hassan is back now.
Sorry, I lost connection.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Okay. No, I think now things fine now. Yes. So, Paddy,
Yes.
what do you think? What do you think?
Well, I thought it was a beautiful project, and I suppose what inevitably what strikes me following the news to some degree about Syria for the last 10 years is that this is not the image that we have of a neighborhood in Aleppo. It seems like given the very difficult circumstances of the last few years, it's a remarkably resilient community that can come together and make something like that. I'm thinking of communities perhaps in my native city, Dublin,
Yeah.
where conditions are much easier, but they're not always very good. And sometimes it's very difficult to motivate people to act in the community. There can be a space that you could make beautiful, but it just stays full of rubbish. Here, you had a space, you cleared the rubbish, you made a football pitch, and you made it a work of art. So what do you think motivated people to do this?
Okay, it's really very important question, and I would like to give you a full answer, but if you let me answer in Arabic. So Muhammad, kindly translate.
Sure. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. أولاً الشعب السوري يعني حكم عليه بالضغط، يعيش تحت الضغط.
Yeah.
وشعب اي انسان هو يعني انسان يعني طبيعته محب للحياه، بيحب انه يعيش كل التفاصيل، ما يكون بعيد عن الاجواء.
وانت واحد منهم.
تمام، انا كنت واحد من هدول الاشخاص. عم بشوف الشباب عندهم طاقات، بالامكان كثير انه نحن نستثمرها بمكان صح، خصوصا انه وقت بتوفر الامكانيات والطاقه اللازمه، وهذا الشيء كان موجود. ورغم كل الظروف اللي مرينا فيها، لكن الشباب بسوريا شباب مستديم، بيحب الحياة اللي فيها استدامة، بيحب الحياة بكل أشكالها. فحتى وقت اللي كان عندنا بعض القصص اللي هي العلاقة بالمفرزات الحرب أو الحرب بحد ذاتها، والضرب اللي كان يصير، هذا الشيء ما خلانا نوقف، يعني حياتنا كانت مستمرة رغم كل شيء، سواء بالجامعة سواء بحياتنا الترفيهية أو بأي شيء ثاني. فبرأيي إنه الإنسان ما بيوقف، وقت بتكون بمعركة أنت ما بتحسن تاخذ استراحة.
شكرا. Thank you, Yaman. So Yaman said that the Syrian people, as he said, the Syrian people, and he one of the Syrian people have a passion for life. So this passion for life not give him a power, a strength to move on, and not to stop working, not to stop studying or go to the college. And he's one of the youth, and the other youth, he worked with them in these initiatives or around him. He said in Arabic, sustainable people. So sustainable means they want to move on. They want to keep the life going on, and and be resilient for the circumstances, which is very bad circumstances. But this is the fact, so they can't surrender for this fact. So when lot of problem according to the war, so they try to find a solution, and because life will not stop during the war, so he move on, and that will motivate him to keep working on these initiatives. And yes, could I add something now? Yaman, could I add it now?
Yes.
So Yaman did this initiatives as a leader when he was in the 4th year in the School of Architecture. And okay, so I got Yaman, you have to make me host again. Sorry for this.
Okay.
So I found this issue. I should do make co-host, but I did mistake and put you host. Click that 3 dots beside me and
yes.
or open participant and just participant from Zoom. Open from Zoom participant.
Yes.
Down beside my name, make host.
Cannot see that.
You know, in Zoom, there's participant.
Yes.
Yeah, click on participant beside my name. More.
I fixed
it. Okay. Sorry for that. Okay, so I was saying that Yaman, I met Yaman in 2013 when he just
was
started.
My teacher, by the way.
Yes, former teacher, and so Yaman started the School of Architecture on 2013, and here's Yaman when he was first met him. So here's Yaman in the 1st year of School of Architecture, and since I met him, I know that he has a passion to do great things in the future. But unfortunately, when he was in 3rd year, he had urinaria. I sorry for misspelling for the medical issue. So he had urinaria carcinoma. So it's kind of cancer, unfortunately, say that. So that metastasizes to lung, liver, and lymph nodes. When he was in the college, he was treated by chemotherapy for 3.5 years. So it's from the 3rd year, so I think it's 2016. And when he was doing these initiatives, he was doing treatment, and because this initiative was due to the World Volunteer Day, he postponed his treatment until he finished his duty for this. So I'm so inspired with this, and he never stopped, and he wanted all the time to share this, to tell people that no war, no sickness, no cancer can stop the dream of anybody to achieve his goals.
That's very admirable.
Okay, so
I have a question, please.
Yes, Hassan.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, خلاص. I'm waiting. You finished?
Yes, yeah. Okay. You can, if you want to comment on this.
Yes, I'm expecting the difficulties that it faced with Yaman in this situation and in the war, because we all maybe lived there for 3 years in the war. So I'm expecting the difficult there. But
You
I
can
want
imagine.
from yes, actually we can imagine. I want from your experience now in this initiate how we can reflect this in another public spaces or in another locations, because there is too much places in Aleppo. It's required to have same this initiate. So can you explain to us from
Yes.
your experience?
Well, I think principles of well-designed media campaigns that clarify the given impact of impact and the mainstream of culture of voluntary among school and college and etc. I think that's a good way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Okay. I just during the panel discussion, we'll answer some questions. But we have question from Salah Al-Ismail following to this idea, and how to keep an eye on the garden and the future upgrading. So I think from my point of view that and maybe a man can choose one of stage. So there's 3 stage for initiatives. So planning, action, and upgrading or being sustained for this initiatives. So from my point of view, the 3rd stage is more difficult, because planning, I can say that planning we can do planning, we can do action, but to keep an eye on this garden, as Salah said, and for the future upgrading, this is the key for community engagement. So when you finish, you have to follow up, and so Yaman, what do you think for the future initiatives? What do you suggest for the future initiatives?
I think appointing people in the neighborhood responsible for it and following it closely from time to time. I think maybe there is a good way, another.
Yes. So I think when you're dealing with the community, when working with them in 8 days, they can later get the idea
and connection to me. Yes, connection.
Perfect. Yes, that's perfect. Okay, so let's move to the another. If we don't have question from Badia of Town, so let's move to initiatives was done when I was in Aleppo and when I was in with Yaman. So speaker review and mute and it's called Trees for Future Architects. and then I will share. I will show you photos. So we'll see some photo, and we talk about it, me and Yaman, and then. Yes. Share screen. So in May 2014, a group on Facebook page for staff and for students of School of Architecture have a discussion, have a brainstorming. So Radwan Hassan, who was the mechanical engineer as a staff in the school, posted an idea for initiatives. And he said, okay, guys, let's have this idea be done. Send us your idea, comments. So he said, we want to plant some trees in this place here and to be a landmark for the future architects to remember. And he said that give us your ideas. And the first man who commented on this post was Yaman Zein. And then other architects, other students, other postgrad students also start to sharing ideas. And we got finally to the idea that each let's say volunteer from architects, from students, from staff can buy a tree and plant it. But to make it easy, so there's a volunteers who will take care about these initiatives. So if anyone wants to buy trees, he can pay cost of the tree, and then we can do it together. So we defined the places for the trees and plants and flowers. So this is the entrance where people used to sit here between the long hours of School of Architecture, as all you know. So define the places, and then Radwan, as he's mechanical engineering, he know how to work on AutoCAD. So did this plan, and then we discussed and then brainstorming, and also Photoshop. And then we said that we have trees and gardens in our school, so let's do more. But the aim of this initiative was to make a project so the other educational facilities, school and college, and people in each school can do the same and work together and as a community in the school. So the community means not just students, we have staff and postgrad, and even I remember one of the supervisors, or two of them, buy a tree and plant it with us. So that was the aim, and then Yaman comments and says, okay, Yaman, what did you say?
I think it was one of my best experience because it's in a likable place, my beautiful college, my beautiful university.
Yeah.
I have mentioned the nursery was close to my house, and I moved fast to the nursery, and we achieved a very beautiful result, especially since we have immortalized the names of people who have left us.
Yes, yeah. That was in May 2014, so it was one year and few months after the 15th of January 2013 memorial. So let's go to the action. So we made a lot of journey to the garden shop and buy this main one and put it in the car. And we have volunteers, Anas Muhammad as the volunteers, and Safi or Safwat Dewi. And we have the main organizer, Radwan, on the blue shirt. And we have Tariq Khanji, who is doing now a PhD master degree in urban planning. Also, he is joining with us. And my father's car also gave me this idea. Bring the plants and the place, put them, and wait until we haven't got any agriculture experts, so we did it ourselves. How to plant it? I think Radwan did that, and some volunteers. I think some volunteers help in cleaning the grass and cleaning the soil first, and then we plant them. So here, the many kinds of plants, and we plant them here and here. But the main challenge now, we will see later, as we spoke, as Salah mentioned, that how to maintain, how to sustain these initiatives. So this is a very good idea to talk about it. But before that, let's see what looked like after a few days by the lens of Muhammad Achour, who did this lovely photo. This is how it looked like, and people enjoy it while waiting for the project. And yeah.
And we achieved a very beautiful result. Everyone expressed his admiration for this work.
Yes, and we are presenting this for people to keep working on this and to do it because our livable city, it starts from our nature. And this is my lovely trees. And this is one I bought it. This is the School of Architecture Engineering. We say it Architectural Engineering College. And yeah. And we have fountains. So I hope by presenting this bring some memory from 2014.
In addition, it became a more beautiful place to take pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I want to share more, the last one. So also during this group of Facebook, we also take care about our school and college. So I remember got an idea to to encourage people to make their college clean all the time. So we post if anyone would like to make a poster. So we had a lovely poster from architect, I think also doing a master degree in planning, and Jude Darwish, and she gave us a permission to credit her here. So and show this picture. So and we printed in collaboration with the college and put this poster in the school. To stay beautiful, keep it clean. And this is in Arabic, it's not clear. Yeah. So this is just flavor of the story of community engagement. Hope it's inspiring for people. It's ask our guest speaker if they have small words for what we did.
Yes, at that time I was a student and master degree, and that
Really?
yes, that last year in Aleppo actually. Many memories about that place, and we stand there too much waiting.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about the lovely nature in our school?
Looks really good. Looks really good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So let's jump to Ireland now. Welcome back to Ireland. Welcome to Ireland. And we'll talk about community engagements, community initiatives in Ireland. And we are run late of time, but we just have maybe 15 minutes. But we need to answer a question. So yeah, just talk about this. So we'll start as people, yeah. So community engagements in Ireland. I will talk a little bit about how the crisis, the COVID-19 crisis, show the importance of our community part and community engagements ideas. So this is what it looked like viewing from my window in my house in Swords in Ireland, Grainan. And so one day in May, 13th of May, I saw people gathering from the morning until the late of the evening. So working on decorating and cleaning and planting their community park, because after 1 month of the lockdown, they realized, all people realized that how important this park and this community plays. And so that made them feel that they have to clean it as their living room. As I said, this public space is like a living room for people in our neighborhood. And it happened that the kids playing and the adults working, and it's collaboration work. And I think with using technology of Facebook or Instagram or apps, we can have these groups for community and call for this community work. And whenever have anybody who have a time to collaborate, they can gather and work together to take care about this community engagements. And what's inspired me to talk about it also that during this very long time of lockdown, families start to search for entertainment for their kids. So it's not every day playing. So many type of work, and then they roll these things and put a soups, and there so it will be slippery. So for kids to enjoy their time in together, it's very important to enjoy your time together, and even also practice. If you notice this here, I can do. So also play, make exercise in the garden here. So I just want to share you this idea that I feel this space is the living room of our community. And now let's move to another community engagement in Ireland, which is called Sanctuary in Nature and Heritage. I would ask Paddy to let us know about it, but let me first share screen. Yeah, Paddy.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Paddy.
Okay. Yeah, well, this came about. I had become, obviously, like many people in Europe, concerned and upset and sometimes angry about what we were seeing in the Mediterranean, the appalling conditions under which people were trying to come to Europe. And so, you know, the kind of images that we saw, that little boy dying on the beach in Greece, made us all very aware of a crisis that I believe is very closely related also to climate change and the difficulty for people in Africa and in the Middle East to make a living in their own countries. And we didn't seem to have any policies, any clear policies to deal with this crisis, which obviously needs an international approach. Anyway, I felt helpless. I didn't, you know, I could not see a solution to this problem, but I thought perhaps the only thing one can do is try and work with the people who do arrive in Ireland and try and make them welcome. And I came across this group called City of Sanctuary, which works to make refugees, asylum seekers, economic migrants, people of different religious and cultural traditions to ours, to bring them, introduce them to our country and have them introduce us to their cultures. So there are various programs operating. There's Sanctuary in universities, for example, Sanctuary in different faith communities. But I'm an environmental writer, so I got this idea of sanctuary in nature, and also from the idea that simply being out among plants and animals generally makes us feel better. And I thought that people who were living in what we call direct provision, which are effectively enclosed or semi-enclosed residences for asylum seekers who may spend 5 or 6 years waiting to find out if they can get their papers. So we decided to organize excursions, nature walks, and we linked it to lunches. And the idea was always that it was an exchange, that we would talk about Irish plants, Irish animals, Irish birds, but we would also invite people who came along to talk about nature in their countries. And very early on, I think, Muhammad joined us on these excursions, and he began to talk to me about it. And he was obviously a great energizer, a great organizer, and had lots of energy. And he suggested to me, why don't we make it sanctuary in nature and heritage? Why don't you introduce people, as well as to Irish nature and Irish landscapes, why don't you introduce people to Irish built heritage? And so we visited, you can see here, places like Castletown House, which is one of the great Irish houses, about 2 centuries old, Ardgillan Castle. And we went to these places with historical guides who were able to introduce people from other cultures to these houses, and then to nature in the surrounding countryside. And it really grew quite rapidly, from very small excursions of maybe sometimes just 3 or 4 people, or 10 or 12, to when we were having, by the beginning of this year, regularly about 60 people. And actually we, you know, if we had more transport and more volunteers, we could have had more. And obviously we've had to stop now because of the COVID-19 crisis. So we tried to continue sending messages and staying in touch with the networks we developed in these direct provision centers on Facebook and through direct phone calls. And we're hoping now, if the crisis seems to be coming to an end in Ireland, that we can somehow start again. It's been very satisfying experience, I think, from my point of view anyway. We have, thanks to Muhammad largely, we have a large Syrian network coming on the excursions, but we also have people from Albania, people from Zimbabwe, people from South Africa, people from Asia, from Mongolia. So, you know, I think it's going quite well. I know we're very short of time, Muhammad, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But it's been wonderful to work with Muhammad.
Thank you.
And a better experience than I could have imagined when I started off this very it was a complete piece of guesswork. I didn't know if it would work or not at all, and it seems to have worked.
Yeah. So thank you, Bradley, for having me first. And I would like to talk what make me attracted to work on this lovely initiative. The idea of introducing people for the nature and to get them involved with the nature excursion first and have fun together. And so I found that it's very nice community engagements because, as Paddy said, we have Irish volunteers and we have residents or people lives in direct provision, which is in Ireland, say direct provision, it's a refugee camp. And so we're trying to make this interaction between them in the aim of introducing to the nature. And it happened, as Paddy said, that Bill suggested him to go to Castletown House and celebrate. And as there's land, very fields there to be in the river, we can see here. And so we can add the heritage and the nature because they go together. So we have more time for interaction and engagement with people. People talk about their heritage from origin, maybe from Syria, from Albania, and the Irish talk to them about their heritage, and all the cultural things get together. So, for example, this Castletown House, a tour for people was done inside this heritage, and then Paddy made a lovely walk within the nature, explaining that this river also is this river named River Liffey, which goes straight away to Dublin. So this information is we discussed together within this community engagements, and how we work so volunteers offer cars, or volunteers association offer transportation, which is the main cost. And then we use our connection, as Patty said, I have enough connection with the refugee there. So we just make it as a very simple work, just define the date and then ask friends if they have time to go with us, and then here you go. So I'm just inviting anybody, if you have any idea, just start with it, and then everything will be easy for him. For example, when we approach Castletown House, we ask them for the cost, and then we have a lovely email reply and saying that they will do a 3 tours and for free. And unlucky, we have to go also to another place, lovely place, and also they offer it for free. But unfortunately for the COVID-19, we missed it. So what we looking forward maybe in August, Paddy? What do you think?
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? So we keep working and keep interaction with people. So I chose to talk about this because community engagement, not just our public space, community engagement in any ideas you have, just do plan and start with it. Thank you for Badi for your talk.
No, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, so we'll come back now to the discussion. Let me. There is a very important discussion. But first, Hussam, what do you think about this? Yeah, just come on.
Hello?
Hussam,
Yes.
do you have in Oman lovely places just like Ireland?
Yes, actually here after the COVID-19 pandemic here, all the people now, they are changing the mind while designing, because here, you know, the society, it's a little bit different than other places.
Okay.
All the people, they are have this closed spaces like malls because of the hot area here. The weather is too much hot almost. So all the people stay in the closed or covered area. Because of the COVID-19, everything, you know, locked down. So all the people try to have private garden, for example,
Private.
yes, in the villa or in the where they are staying. So too much people now they are start take care about this gardens, about this private areas. But almost here and now also they are taking care about the public spaces. There is many projects now will start with the municipality and with the Ministry of Tourism in around the city. Maybe next year it will be finished, inshallah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, you have a few months with people can go out. So you are working just for these months
Yes,
to have
exactly.
this public space. Yeah.
Exactly, because here maybe 3 or 4 months in
So,
the year we can go outside only.
oh, no, perfect. So let's move to the answering the question from audience. Okay, so it's very challenging this question. So, as question from our friend Salah Al Ismail, I have a general question. I think it's for me this question. You with the different experience you all have, it's for all. How we can enhance the livability of a city wrecked by a disaster or war? How to define, prioritize when we suggest initiatives? Okay. So I will start that if you want your community, if you want your ideas to be sustained, work on communities, because community is always there. Community people always there. So if you develop and improve the skills of this community and explain to them about how important their environment or neighborhood. So I think this is the priority now to start with the community. Not start with talking with them about livability because they won't understand it. So start with idea of how to use the public space, how to take care about the public space, and how to do community engagements. Anyone would like to answer? Okay. So I also answer about the how to upgrade the garden. So question to Badi, did the diversity of participants from Salah, did the diversity of participants with our excursion, sorry Badi, did the diversity of participants and different cultural background added or changed something in your views of the heritage?
Well, I think yes. It would be hard to give a direct example, but it's really interesting to have people from different cultures in your, for example, Castletown House, and to see how they respond to stories from our history. I mean, you know, I guess, you know, it depends. Some people come here with more information about the country than others. And even for many Irish people, as I say, there are lots of historical questions that I am continuing to try to resolve for myself. And, you know, I will never finish. It's very interesting to see the kind of questions that people ask, you know, perhaps about relations between men and women here in the 18th or 19th century, as they are reflected in the building, the relationship between the owners of the buildings and the people who did the work in the buildings. So it, you know, and sometimes you find kind of smiles of recognition about situations or stories that are told. And sometimes people look a bit blank and say, you know, I don't understand that. That's never happened in my culture, you know. So it varies a lot. Yeah. So I think for all of us, it's a growing and learning experience.
Yes, that's yeah, to know from all background and to know stories from them also add for our initiative. So my last question, maybe in a few words, about the public space and the community engagement. How important are they? Yaman, how important for our city? Wait, Yaman, unmute yourself. Yaman? Oh,
Maybe he is not hearing us.
yeah. What do you think, Sam? Yeah.
Public spaces actually it's provide the people many opportunities to come together to engage with the community. And if the public spaces are successful, they are creating a social spaces for everyone in the society to participate in. Yes, actually also as a planner, all the time we are thinking about the public spaces design, what is the primarily refers to the study and planning of urban planning public areas through elements used for shaping the physical features of cities and the way public places are used. So it depends also with the local materials. Sometimes it's different between a country to the another country also.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yaman, came back to us. Yaman, unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, Yaman. How important? No worries. How important the public space and community initiatives are?
I think it has become an approach to life to make good places, good buildings, and I think for better life, we have to do everything we have to make that happen.
Okay. When is your next garden? When are you going to leave the next garden?
I think near our castle. I will make gardens there and.
Yeah. So a few months ago, I talked
and moving there.
Yeah, I talked to your man that there's an association can collaborate to deliver ideas and webinars for people to take care about their trees and spaces. So yeah, man, just the second day he sent me a few places. He said, okay, we can work on this. So yeah, hopefully we see a man and post him in another community, but I would like to wish him good health and good future in his career. And thanks for
thanks a lot.
Yeah, Paddy, is it important? Are you have a face to see College Green Plaza soon?
I hope so, and I think, you know, public spaces. You know, I think the public sphere. It's something that has been under attack, certainly in Europe and the United States, since the 1980s. The privatization of almost everything, the privatization of experience through social media as well. Oddly enough, you might think it was publicizing it, but in a way it's privatizing it. And I think it's incredibly important. And I think that the COVID crisis has perhaps taught us that we need to pay attention to the public sphere in every way, in terms of our health services, for example, in terms of our education, in terms of how we treat each other. And so that can be reflected in how we behave in public space. And I look forward, yes, to a plaza in the center of Dublin, but I would just maybe at the end raise one question, which is, I think we're going to find it very, very difficult for the next couple of years as to how we negotiate public space if we can no longer be close to one another physically. If when I get onto a bus, I can no longer sit beside somebody. If when I meet a friend, I can no longer shake their hand or embrace them. If when I'm at a football match or when I'm at a concert, I can't have that sense of being part of a big collective of human bodies in one place. I think this is going to be a very challenging time. Will we be the same kind of people if we can't have the kind of physical relationship? Sounds like something else, but I simply mean the kind of normal physical relationships that people have in a public space with each other and with the space will change if we're always thinking, oh, I mustn't be too close to anybody. So I think that's going to be a challenge for public space perhaps in the future. And I'll have to end there, but thank you all very much. It's been a great privilege to participate in this and to listen to somebody from Aleppo and somebody in Oman telling me their stories. That has been really, really interesting.
Yes, could I have one last question from to Hussam? For those looking from outside, they think Syria and Oman are similar. What are the main differences you noticed between two communities? So what's the main difference between Syria and Oman? Affect between two communities in Syria and Oman, as you were in Syria and now in Oman. What the difference affect the design and interaction with public space? From Salah.
Actually, the difference depends on two things, main things. First one, the relationship between the people and community, because here the relationship between the people is different than relationship between the Syrian people. Yes, it depends on the culture. And the second main things is the weather, because here the weather here it's too much hot. So you cannot, even you have a beautiful garden and a beautiful open space, and you can find a beautiful trees and pavement or something, but you cannot sit there because it's too much hot. So it's take these people to stay under cover areas like malls or like closed spaces.
So there's difference.
This is the main difference, yes, between this. And actually, thank you, Badi, for your ideas. I think I have the main question, it will be for the next stages in the public spaces. It's what makes a public spaces successful. Yes. Because now, you know, in this crisis, as you said, the people, they cannot sit together. Next to together. So if we make a public spaces and we didn't take care about this, I think this public spaces will not be useful. So the main things we have to think how we make this public spaces successful and taking care about all this what's happening and what's changing in around the world. Yes.
This is very challenging.
Yes, very challenging. Exactly.
Yeah, so all will work on it. I think, Yaman, the electricity was off and you managed. Okay. Just one last thing, and then we can conclude. Yeah, Iman?
Public space, I think, must bring people closer and closer. It makes us see what we need, decide that, and do it. We get to know the different heritage that people have.
Yeah, we are lucky in Syria. I can say to Badi, we are lucky in Syria. We have 4 different seasons. So 3 months season, each season. So using public space, I think it's a privilege for us. We can use public space with this, not just like island for 1 day for season. Just for our audience to say, so Places of ARcture is a group using art and architecture to engage with young people or people in local communities and refugee camps. We doing activities and events, and this is, I think, the 7th event, the second online event with London Festival of Architecture. Amazing platform to present idea. And thank you very much for them to having us. Our next event is live from Aleppo on Friday and on Saturday. And thanks for London Festival of ARcture. So it's 2 events different. So 26 at 2 o'clock. We'll have part 1, and then on 27 we'll have part 2. So hopefully join us for the same platform, YouTube Live, and to know more about the old city, the ancient city, the World Heritage City of Aleppo. And at the end, I would like to thank you all for joining us this lovely talk. I hope all people enjoy it. And thank you, Paddy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hussam.
Thank you so much.
Hussam Achour, we have no relation, relative, but we used to say my cousin. Thank you, my cousin.
Thank you, my
cousin. And the big thanks for Yaman for his lovely presentation, and wish you all the success for love.
Thanks for you. My pleasure.
Yes, yeah, thank you very much, and hope to do it again. And thank you all for joining us, and hope to see you on Friday. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Muhammad.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Hussam. Bye, baby.